Hello, Caleb Booker. You sent me a message about astral projection. Yes, we've covered this subject a little in the past. The best resource I would recommend for information about astral projection and essentially a guideline as to how to do it is the book by Sylvan, Muldoon, and Harewood Carrington. I've mentioned this before. Sylvan is spelled Sylvan, I think, and Muldoon is Muldoon. And Harewood Carrington, that should be quite easy, and the book is quite simply called The Projection of the Astral Body, and it is quite simply fantastic, without a shadow of a doubt. Go for it, read it, buy it, have a copy on your shelves and refer back to it, and it covers the subject as close as possible, full stop. Get your hands on it. As far as where to begin again, start going back to doing meditation, but change the style of your meditation so it's more to do with trying to create a sensation of being out of yourself. Okay, it's a mood. You do it partially through visualization, partially through sensing. I mean, the word visualization isn't really good enough to describe it, because just imagining it, oh, there we go, just imagine myself out of my body, there we go, boom. What's happened? Nothing much. But if you're in a deeper state of mind, and if the word visualization in this particular case involves all of the sensory feelings, including the sense of place in space, the sense of relation to other things in the physical world, the sense of feeling your bodily posture and sensing your presence being somewhere else and everything else associated with it, then that can actually help you just a little more when you start seeing the word visualize in a slightly different or deeper way, such as visualizing a sense, visualizing a feeling. I mean, is there a particular room of your house which has a certain mustiness or a certain smell in the air which you yourself can detect? Well, if you were to try and visualize yourself being there, you would have to visualize, in inverted commas, every single part of the whole experience, such as where you'll be standing or sitting, precisely what you would be looking at, what direction you'll be looking in, what parts of the room you would actually be looking at, the feeling of the carpet under your feet. Is it a shag pile carpet, or is it a hard linoleum floor, or whatever? Think about how that would feel. Think about your weight distribution through your legs. Think about the clothes you'll be wearing and how they feel upon your body. Add all that into the visualized experience, and learn to use that more to try and get yourself disassociated from your physical sensations. That would be a good place to start, but definitely get that book by Sylvan, Muldoon, and Harewood Carrington, and all the rest of it is practice and learning to take away from yourself the stress of trying to achieve the experience, because when you put yourself into the stress state of mind, then that brings you back to your waking consciousness, and you don't want that to happen. You need to allow it to work, which is probably why, religious people or mystics have found it easier in the past, because religious exercises and immersing yourself in a transcendental concept can actually assist in having that disassociative effect. Maybe in a similar way to the, what are they called, the dervishes, the Islamic dervishes who spin in order to try and separate the feeling of the material with the sense of the spiritual, that thing which, the action which brings you closer to God, being essentially disassociating yourself from the physical through dizziness and losing that mental grip you've got on sensory experience of being in the here and now. Alright? These are things to essentially be practiced and worked with. And obviously thinking about visualizing light or a beam of light coming out of what people call the third eye, namely your forehead area, because that becomes part of the astral cable, which, the folk mythology about astral projection says, well, it connects to the back of your head when you're in the astral body. So you have a cable when you're projected coming from the back of your head leading to the forehead of the physical, and learning to feel that and visualize that, focusing on your heartbeat and where your heartbeat would be when you're in the astral body, which is at the back of the head, the medulla oblongata region, I think it's called, but roughly around the back of the head, and trying to sense that as if you're a boom, 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 boom feeling on the right at the back of the head when you're actually out in the physical, out of the physical in the astral itself. All these things can help. and also think about the path of your spirit body, because it goes upwards, 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 upwards out of your resting body and moves across maybe about 12 or 20 feet away, and then it slowly rights itself, and then you can move away. But of course, if your astral gets too close to your physical, it'll be sucked straight back in. Alright, so you want to avoid that. You want to maintain a certain quantity of distance when you're trying to do the exercise. So that's a bit about how to start yourself off with astral projection all over again. But I'll reiterate yet again, Sylvan Muldoon and Harewood Carrington, The Projection of the Astral Body. Massively amazing book. Get yourself a copy. If any of you are, my atheist viewers, I'd get yourself a copy as well. Sylvan Muldoon says the proof of the pudding is in the eating. Alright? And I have eaten, okay, and I have the proof from personal experience. Because he says, he can't prove it to you through argumentation, but the proof of the pudding is in the eating. And for me to get the full total astral exteriorization, the first one I had, that took me about 2 years worth of practice. So read the book, study it, get yourself immersed in it, and see what you can do, because some strange stuff happens in this universe, and it's not just down to the physical laws. That's the way I see it. I could be wrong, but my personal experience suggests that I'm not.